I want to talk about Charles Bush, a black man who got killed by police in his apartment when they was not supposed to be in his apartment. They in his apartment and they killed him. Well, they tried to arrest him and they got him in a chokehold and he ended up dying. People were protesting in 1990 about his death. And today, with George Floyd dying, people are protesting on the strip today. But but basically, I want to like finish the story up quickly, cause I have a lot to do tonight by 4 a.m. The camera's like everywhere. But okay, so basically, hold on, 15. Okay. Okay, this is a big story, so I got to go back to 15. Cause I seen this earlier and I was on the last page and then my phone just stopped recording. So so basically, in 1990 he got killed by Las Vegas Metro, um, and people were protesting on the strip and probably everywhere around town. So these are the officers that killed him. These three guys. I know one of these guys is in Arizona. The other two guys have died. But basically in 1990, and I've been trying to read how it is. Yeah. Basically, in 1990, he died on July 31st, and his death led to a new state law, which is still in place today, sets a limit on use of chokeholds by police, forced top Clark County officials to re-examine a process known as a coroner's inquest. A system meant to provide transparent police shooting and custody. Deaths have said have deaths. Hold on. Let's see. And in custody deaths, but let's see. Try. A system meant to provide transparent and police shooting and custody deaths, but criticized by some being blast in favor of law enforcement. But all the changes that his death inspired. The 30th anniversary death of Casino Floorman, killing this moment school of America glazed pace towards dismantling and actively addressing the systematic racism in in policing. What I don't want for us to be another 30 years saying the same thing. Nothing has changed from 30 years and even 30 years before. Terri Siddoway, she was Charles Bush's girlfriend. Yeah, she was pregnant with his baby. His son name is Charles Jr., but I think his son has the mom's last name because since he was there, she probably decided to give him her name. But he's not really a junior. Well, he's a junior, but not legally. But his son Charles Jr. was around 12 years old when he found out how his dad died. Siddoway explained to him that she stepped out of the apartment at the Paradise Resort Inn sometime around 12 a.m. to buy a pack of cigarettes. But she said after she left an hour later, his father was dead. Um, to a point, it shaped everything in my life. Charles Jr., not 29, said his father death in a sit-down interview this month in Morgan, where he was born and raised under the dark sky. That morning, a squad of six plainclothes vice officers were attempting to arrest prostitutes along Paradise Road, a known problem area for prostitution that's east of the Strip, not far from the couple's apartment. Siddoway, she was a legal prostitute in Nevada. She said she certified for radio to a convenience store because her blessed feet was a pain. Police said otherwise. But by 1 a.m. after her arrest, three vice officers, Gerald Emerson, Thomas Chase, and Michael Campbell, entered their apartment using Siddoway's key to conduct a follow-up investigation. Officers did not have a search warrant to enter, but inside room 409 was now Red Roof Inn. I know what it is. That's by Shaquille O'Neal Chicken Place in the CVS, Big Chicken. But Bush was lying in bed, and his back was turned to the door. Siddoway said she did not give the key to the officers, nor did she give them permission to enter the apartment. But they arrested her. I guess they took her key, and they decided to go enter the apartment themselves. But her arrest and Bush's death occurred long before the existence of police body cameras and long before cell phone video had become an everyday weapon source for civilians to document police brutality and misconduct. So 3 decades later, police remain in control of narratives surrounding Bush's final moments. He charged the officers, they say, and a struggle broke out. We still don't know what really happened, Ruth Siddoway said. After all this time, we just don't know. After Bush was handcuffed and placed on the bed, according to Metro, he began wheezing and dying before the paramedics arrived. I had no choice but to hold on to this man, Emerson, the officer who placed Bush in a chokehold, said 2 weeks later. His testimony during the court, he was like a crazy guy. Grand jury Bush official called the death was strangulation. It was ruled a homicide by Clark County Coroner's Office. The chief medical examination time testified during the inquest. Said a 7-member inquest jury ruled unanimously that Bush's death was justified for marking the 44 consecutive justified verdict handed down the coroner's inquest since 1976. 2 days later, then District Attorney Rex Bell announced that he would not charge officers. I would destroy the whole integrity of the process if I overturned it, Bell said of the court's inquest. The integrity of the process, which no longer used today, was questionable and by top county officials. It was placed in 2013, following a year of discussion with a new process called the Fact-Finding Review, which is held only after the Clark County District Attorney Office already made a preliminary determination that no charges will be filed against the officer. Unlike a coroner's inquest, officers no longer testify during the new review process that since its inception, not a single preliminary determination has been overturned following a fact-finding review. It's not a perfect process because the robbed officers that caused the death of one decisions cannot be forced to testify. Clark County District Attorney Steve Wolfson told the Review Journal this month, adding that the process is probably right for review to determine if any more improvements could be made. At the Bell 699 Nevada Attorney General office stepped in. Officers were indicted on charge of involuntary manslaughter and oppression under color of office. Clark County jury deadlocked 11-1 to acquit the man a few months later. A mistrial was charged. Then, District Judge J. Thompson personally agreed with the jury and said officers had illegally entered Bush's apartment. Thompson said, had Bush survived and been arrested, he would have been thrown out of the case in court. Emerson was fired in March 1991 by then Clark County Sheriff John Moran, who had since died, and both Chase and Campbell were demoted. Chase left the apartment 5 years later, and Campbell retired in 1997. Emerson died in 2004, age 74. Chase died in December at the age of 78. Emerson reached Campbell Bedford story was successful to publish. He lives in Arizona. So this Chasey guy lives in Arizona. These other 2 guys are dead. Disgraceful cops. 27 years will pass before another Metro officer faced charged in custody with a in-custody killing. Revived use of force positive black people to make up 12% of the population, but the average last 5 years, according to Metro statistics, 37% of people who shot by police were black. Nationally, Metro praised as a model for police reform, transparent since 2012, when the U.S. Department of Justice opened an investigation in the Department use of force in light of a Review Journal series that uncovered examples of poor training with the Department, a lack of care policy, and unwillingness to discipline proper officers. But for Metro, years that followed the Department of Justice cleanup, there have been marked by several high-profile hold on. I gotta find it's somewhere. Let me find it. High-profile killers of unarmed black men, including death of Tashi Brown in 2008, Brown vs. 2009. This is Siddoway and Charles Jr., who was born 8 months after his father got killed. They have since relocated, I believe, to Oregon. Okay, 2017, a white officer shot Brown seven times with a stun gun and punched him at least a dozen times before placing him in authorized martial arts chokehold for more than a minute. Williams, in 2019, who was stopped for riding his bike while city light, told police, "I can't breathe," at least 70 times while officers pinned him on the ground using their hands and knees. A fact-finding review is set for August 26. Significantly charges of Metro use of force, specifically regarding restraints that cut the flow of oxygen and blood, came at both deaths this month following weeks of local Black Lives Matter protests. Metro again changed the policy on certain neck restraint technique. It's time to allow the use of life-threatening situations. The department previously permitted the neck restraint known as a lateral badge of neck restraint in the instant when an officer goes confronted by such a person. I don't think reclassified is enough, said Jessley Jewell, spokesman for American Civil Liberty Union of Nevada, former crime reporter for the Review Journal. I think every cop knows what to say and avoid any accountability. Just easy enough for them to say, "I felt like my life was in danger." The ACLU has long been a forefront for local conversations surrounding police brutality and Planned Civic Road and Admiral Bush's death, call for transparency and charge against officers. Metro did not respond to a request for an interview with Sheriff Joe Lobato for a story, but at the time of the policy change, the department issued a statement. "We are constantly involved looking for ways to improve our use of force standards. Case a national conversation show by techniques show that we have room for improvement." Zero accountability. Las Vegas, there was an outrage at the Bush death 3 years ago. There was an outrage at the Brown death 3 years ago. And last year, there was an outrage about Williams' death. Each of killing prompted protests, none resulting in convictions. My first reaction in reviewing Charles Bush killing, how eerie for me is, Jewel said, "We changed some of the names they could have yesterday, but same thing. Zero accountability. A district attorney is reluctant to ask questions about racial bias involved policing. Is really that we haven't made more progress." 51% of Americans say they believe racial discrimination is a big problem, according to a poll conducted by Monmouth University Poll Institute in 2015, a leading center on study of public opinion on natural state issues. Now, 5 years later, the figure is jumped to 76%. Recent Monmouth poll found George Floyd death is so blatantly wrong. I think it got everybody's attention, said Charles Hayes, an ex-Dallas police officer who went to study bias in police and write a book about it. Now, there are conversations happening that might not ever take place. Kent LaPrade, the officer who killed Brown, was initially charged in December of voluntary manslaughter and oppression under the color of office. He was the first killer since Bush killing to be charged in an in-custody death, but Robertson stopped pursuing charges against LaPrade at a grand jury and declined to indict him. 30 years ago, before Robertson became top prosecutor in Clark County, he was a criminal defense attorney, representing Emerson, the officer who choked Bush. But as whether his role in the Bush case could cast doubt in the community about his willingness to prosecute police officers. He told the Review Journal, "It's nonsense to suggest that my officers is not willing to prosecute law enforcement when we are currently prosecuting so many of them." He said in the office last month he was prosecuting 50 police officers for a charge of remaining for sexual assault and domestic violence to DUI and embezzlement. But a few months after Bush's death, Siddoway was convicted of solicitation for prostitution, but she maintained her innocence. She left Vegas the same year, late 1990, to give birth and raise Charles near her family in Western Oregon. "It was traumatizing at all," Siddoway said. "True miracle that he was born. Seriously, because I hardly ate." For a long time, she missed Bush. They had been together about 3 years when he died. Maybe she